Hello dear R learners, hope you are doing great. In this video, we will discuss data frames. Data frames are similar to spreadsheets or database tables. A data frame represents a data with a number of rows and columns. Each column can be considered as a vector. So elements in the column must be of same data type and each column must be of same length. Here is an example of data frame. It has 4 columns. Each column is having a same length and there are columns with different data types. There are columns with character data types such as name, subject and gender, and there are columns with numeric data types such as age. The columns are also called as variables, which have the same data type, and elements across the rows are called as observations, which have different data types. So let's open the RStudio and create data frame. We can use data.frame function to create a data frame. We are storing the data frame into object called persons. In data frame function, we can create a columns of data frame using vector of different data types. So here we have created data frame columns with numeric and integer vectors. And we have also given a name to each vector. This name corresponds to the name of the columns in the data frame. Also note that there are same number of elements in all the vectors. So if we execute this, we should get a data frame. See how the data frame columns are created. Since we have passed on the named vectors into the data frame function, we also get the column names. The class of the data frame is data frame. It has its own class, making it easy to work with other data frames. We can check the structure of the data frame using structure function. It gives the data type of each variable along with the number of rows and columns in data frame. We can convert a matrix and list objects into data frame using as.data.frame function. So here is a matrix. Remember, all elements are of same data type because it's a matrix. And now using as.data.frame function, we have converted a matrix into a data frame. So you can confirm it by checking the class of the object. And the class of the object is data frame. Similarly, here is a list. Remember all elements of a list must be of same length. So using as.data.frame function, we convert it into a data frame. You can check it with the help of a class function. We can use rbind and cbind function to add rows and columns to the data frame. Using rbind function is a bit tricky here. If we use rbind function, then we must ensure that all elements of a new row vector should be of same data type. This means the number 23, which represents the age, should be coded as a character data and not as a numeric data. So if we run this command and check the structure of the data frame, you can notice that the age column is coerced into a character data type. So how do we resolve this issue? To add rows correctly, we need to convert the items being added to a data frame and ensure that the columns are of the same data type as the original data frame. So here we resolve the issue. Here we have prepared the small data frame out of a new row element. And now if we use the rbind function and check the structure of the data frame, then you can find out that this age column has the same data type as the original data frame. So this new row is added without changing the data type of original data frame. Adding columns to a data frame using cbind function is straightforward. We use cbind function. We use cbind function, pass on the vector to be added, and use structure function to check the data frame structure. Now here you can see that the last column, the sports column, is added to the data frame. We can also use row names and column names function to name the rows and columns of the data frame. So here we have first created the row name and column name vectors. Remember, we need to match the length of the vector as the length of rows and columns in the data frame. Now here we will use the row name and column name functions with the data frame as an argument and assign the row and column name vectors to it. And if we check the data frame now, you can see that the row names and column names are added to the data frame. Before we close, I want to show you quickly some very helpful functions that will give you a clear understanding of data frame structure. These functions can also be used along with the structure function that we saw earlier, the head function and the tail function. The head function, as the name suggests, will show the first 6 elements in the data frame. So head function, it will show you the top line. So here I'm using the empty cars dataset, which is inbuilt dataset in R. It has various automobile parameters for 32 car models. And as you can see, after we run the head function, we get the first 6 elements of the data frame. And if we run the tail function will show us the last 6 elements of the data frame. So the tail function will show you the bottom line, and here are the last 6 elements of the data frame. Great, thanks for watching till the end. In the next video, we will look at subsetting the data frame. I will see you in the next video.